All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double homage to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. So, Brother Shawab Mawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, many will perish from famine. All right, and Shalom, Sister Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah, unto you and your household. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. All right, and going into the title, man, many about to perish from famine. All right, and I want to play this video real quick and go based off of this video. All right, let me just put it on wax in the car with the Bluetooth so you can hear it clear. And, you know, basically what's going on out there in the Middle East, all right, with the Hormuz being blocked off, all right, that right there within itself is going to cause a lot of famine, all right? It's going to cause a lot of hyperinflation more than anything, all right? That's why there's going to be a famine, because the cost of living is about to go up, you know? Our necessities that we need the most are going to go up. And people not going to be able to afford it, because while we're in a time where people losing jobs, you know, as the scriptures tell you that, tells you that in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, all right, verse 3, it tells you what? That the grinding is low, okay? Let me just grab that real quick. This is Ecclesiastes, all right? Ecclesiastes 12:3, and it says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, okay, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened." You see, so the grinders are going to cease because there are few, meaning that there ain't going to be too many jobs left out here, right? We're already being taken over by, you know, the rise of machines, AI technology. All right, you got robots that are on deck ready to do your jobs, man. So a lot of people, you know, don't have jobs like they used to have. All right, so people are already struggling here in America. America's already in a desperate state, you know. So what's going to happen is when these hyperinflations come about, all right, these people going to panic. These people not going to be able to afford, okay, what they need. So eventually it's going to turn into famine. Why? Because they might be able to afford something for a month, 2 months, but see, these people are going to be dipping into their savings, man. And once you start dipping into your savings, it's only a matter of time before your savings run out, okay? And on top of that, the dollar's collapsing, you know. Not a lot of these people are smart enough to go buy silver and gold, you know, because right now is the time to have silver and gold because things are doubled, you see. As a matter of fact, I haven't checked. Let me see. I haven't checked that in about 2 weeks. Let me see how much the silver is at. And if you ever need some silver or gold, you go to atmex, okay, .com, and they're legit with what they have. All right, because I've bought from them many times. All right, but right now in Atmex you got. Let me see. It should go up. It should be high right now because of this war right now. Hold on, it's loading up. Taking a while to load up. I got so much, man. I got so many videos and shit on my phone that I got to get out. Actually, silver still actually went down. So right now it's been fluctuating between $85 and $75 for an ounce of silver, okay, which I advise you right now will be the time to get it before it goes back and shoots up to like $130, $140. All right. The only thing is with this app, they're actually making you buy no less than $500 worth. So if you have the extra cash, it'd be smart to, you know, grab a little something, because eventually that's just going to shoot up. All right. You might spend $500, but you're going to definitely double your money, you know, so you'll be all right with that. And it's going to continue to rise. All right. It's going to continue to go up more and more. You got gold that's at 50, rounding it off, let's just say 5,100 right now. All right. So if you got an ounce of gold, you're going to get 5,100 for it. All right. And eventually that will continue to go up. Okay. And really, you were supposed to be stacking up before when it was at $30, $25. Because when I was grabbing silver, it was at $30 an ounce. Okay. And that's where it really kicks in, where, you know, you having some now, you're going to be able to get a decent amount of it, you know. And if you have the patience to wait till this place really collapse, precious metals are going to go up skyrocketing at that time, you know. So, you know, it'd be good to grab a little something if you know, have a little bit of extra change on you. All right. So going back to Ecclesiastes 12:3, all right, the time is coming where, you know, the grinders are going to cease, because everything here in America is being taken over by the government, man. They don't want, they getting you used to and gradually getting you comfortable with the system that they're about to bring upon us. All right, this NWO. All right, and what comes with this NWO is universal basic income, you know, which that's going to come by the way of that MOTB, that RFID, you see, because then they're going to tell you, well, listen, you take this RFID, we're able to give you, you know, this money while you're sitting at your house on your ass. You know, we'll be able to send you, let's just say $2,000 a month. You see, it's not like the old world order where they have to actually pay you dollars. All right, this new system is going to be consisted of just a bunch of wireless transactions. So when it comes to you being connected to the system, they could just easily just say, okay, you got $2 million in your account, because they just wired a number to you. You see, they're not physically giving you the money. Okay, it's not like now in today's society, you have to actually work, and then you got to go and cash a check, or you got to wait for a check to be, you know, put into your account, and then you can actually get the physical money for it. So they have to actually keep printing out money. All right. But in this new world order, all right, there's going to be no more printing money. They're not going to need none of that no more, because everything's going to be based off of digital currency. Everything's going to be based off some wireless ass transaction that they're going to give you. And that's what they've been prepping you for, man. You know, for the universal basic income, you know, the social credit system. All right. So everything, all right, around us is digitalized, and, you know, people not having jobs like they used to. Okay. They're making you rely on their government more and more, you know, with these different types of programs. Okay. People got used to being on welfare. People got used to being on SNAP. Why you think they bring all these different programs out? It's because they're trying to gradually get you used to that, to depend on the government. All right. They want you to trust in the shadow of Egypt, right? Like it tells you in Isaiah. Let's grab that, the 30th chapter. All right. I'll just go straight to the point. All right. It says 2. It says that walk down to Egypt and have not asked of my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Okay. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. So they have trained your mind to basically depend on the system, you know, that you can't make it without the system. All right. It tells you that, as a matter of fact, in Hosea. All right. I haven't got that in a while. This is 10 and 13 in the NLT. And it reads, you have plowed wickedness, you have reaped iniquity. All right. As a matter of fact, let me grab the NLT, Salakia. But you have cultivated wickedness and harvested a thriving crop of sins. You have eaten the fruit of lies. You see, and eating the fruit of lies is you trusting in this government, you know, making, you know, lies your refuge. Okay. Trusting in your military might, believing that your great armies could make your nation safe. You see, so these people put their trust, okay, on you know, on the system, believing that they're going to be safe through the system. And then it says after that, now the terrors of war will rise among your people. You see, and that's what's happening right now, the terrors of war. Okay, so now you're going to start to see this place collapse due to the war that's out there. All right, when you go into the history of like the Great Depression and all that, why did the Great Depression come about? Because we were in war. All right. So when war happens, the economy has to collapse, because now they have to fund everything to the war. Now everything's for the war. You see? So it pretty much puts everybody in a bad predicament here. Okay. So going back to Isaiah. All right. Let's go to 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. You see? going to America for help. It says, and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see? So they have been going down to Egypt for help. And we know through Isaiah 19, all right, that Egypt shall fail, as the scriptures say, right? This is Isaiah 19:3. It says, the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. All right. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. All right. And on top of that, they're going to go to the system for more help. Okay. And that's spiritual, because when you go into Genesis, the 47th chapter, what does it talk about? How money failed in Egypt in those times. Well, money going to fail in spiritual Egypt in these times, man. You see? And that's why they're going to be able to pretty much get to the point where they're going to go into a barter. You know, people going to start bartering what they have. And then eventually those things will run out. All right. Gold, silver is going to also collapse along with the dollar right after. You see, the dollar will collapse. Gold and silver will go up. Precious metals will go up. But eventually that shit's going to fall too. Okay. Because that's not going to be used in the new system. You see. And what did they say in the time of Egypt? All right, in the 47th chapter of Genesis, they said that we have nothing left but to give our lands and our bodies. So eventually they're going to end up giving their bodies, okay, for this what? For this technology, okay? So it says Isaiah 19, and let me just drop down to 15. It says, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, all right, which is America, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So there you go. Jobs are going to be taken away from you. Okay. So going back to Ecclesiastes 12:3. I'm trying to get there. 12:3 says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. You see, meaning what? Life's opportunities, man. Life's opportunities are going to be taken away from you. So you ain't going to be no, I'm going to be this in the future. That's why we tell you all the time, you niggas that's out there making 10-year plans, you know, going to school to become this, go become that, is retarded. It's a stupid move. Why? Because this place is failing. Okay. Look to the point where Trump basically told women, all right, and that's a field that can never die down, okay? The medical field, because there's always going to be somebody sick. There's always going to be some type of medical attention needed, all right? And what did you say? What did Trump say? You women are nobodies now that are in the medical field. A medical field is not a profession. It's not considered a job, you see? And that's spiritual that he said that, because it's telling you that everything here in America is going to fail, man. All right. The only ones that's pretty much is a job right now, somebody that's building something for America to be great, right? To you know, continue to build skyscrapers and more corporations and buildings and companies, right? But eventually that's going to fade too. Because what does it say in what is that? Matthew the 24th chapter, all right? Matthew 24:1, all right? Yep. This is Matthew 24:1. It says, and Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So people building, yeah, they were building a temple at that time, right? But you got to use that in a spiritual sense, man. Things are being built up out here, man. All right. But the Lord said that all these things right here are going to be taken down. They're going to be brought down. You see? So corporations, major corporations are falling down right now, collapsing. That's why you got CEOs that are leaving their position, you know. They're selling their companies, you know. You'll see a major corporation or a franchise that's been out for years, and all of a sudden it disappears. Now it's no longer. Okay, why? Because believe it or not, these people are hurting. You know, they're not going to see the CEO ain't going to hurt. That nigga accumulated enough money to be able to hold his own. But see, everybody else ends up feeling the fall. You see, everybody else feels the fall. Everybody else is going to be hurt by it. Why? Because they're going to be put out of business. They're going to be put out of their jobs. Okay, and right now, at a whole time high, what Lord willing, I do a video on in a little while. Suicide rates is high right now. A lot of people killing themselves, man. A lot of people killing themselves, their children and their wives, man. Why? Because there's a lot of shit going on behind closed doors, man. You see, Esau putting people minds in a desperate state of mind, and they're realizing what's happening. All right, that there's really no way out of it. Okay, that's why more people are picking up the Bible now, which a lot of these heathens are picking up the Bible, trying to read something when this Bible ain't even for them. Everybody picking up Bibles except our people, you know, except Jake. You see, Jake's still caught up in the mix of delusion, thinking that, you know, that there's still a way to have a good time out here. Oh, YOLO, let me live it up. You only live once. Shit, if I'm gonna die, let me die going out with a bang. You see, that's just straight folly. That's why scriptures say folly is set in great dignity, man. Okay, bunch of nonsense from our people, man. Instead of turning back to the Heavenly Father, man, and you know, hiding yourself in these scriptures. All right. So let's go back to Ecclesiastes 12:4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets. Okay. Yeah. The places the sown places shall suddenly appear unsown, as it tells you in 2nd Ezra 6:22. Okay. It's going to be from looters. It's going to be from companies just once being up and now they're gone. Okay. They didn't have enough money to be able to hold up their company. Okay. You're going to see warehouses, all right, be taken over by robots. So now there's going to be no more workers in these places. So it's going to be unsown. You see, there ain't going to be nobody in there. It's going to be empty with just a bunch of robots doing the job. And then these other stores, places like Walmart, your ShopRites, you know, these are places around my way, Targets and shit like that. Those places are just gonna be looted, gone, and ain't gonna be no more things on the shelves. Why? Because people gonna buy panically, they're gonna panic buy, right? And then eventually when this shit collapses, these people gonna go into a frenzy and it's gonna be every man for themselves, and they're just gonna be on that spirit of just taking whatever they can. And then you think these people gonna go back and try to buy more product? Hell no, because their stores are gonna be looted, robbed. You see, so those things are going to disappear, right? So it says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And when you go into the word grinding, it goes into employment. Okay, so there's going to be no more employment out here. And shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, why is it going to be rising up at the voice of a bird? All right, because everything's going to be a burden onto them. You see, as it tells you in the next one, it says, also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, the fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. You see, everybody has a desire to want it to be something now. You know, I desire to be, I'm just using this as an example. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a multi-million-dollar business, this, that. All right. But when they see that this shit collapse, there's going to be no more desire. You see, miseries is going to come upon them instead. Okay. Great miseries at that. A grasshopper is going to be a burden onto them because it's going to be so quiet out here. Ain't going to be no noise. See, America's a place of noise. You always hear music being played. You hear the sound of cars going to work and beeps and horns. You know, you hear, you know, houses being built all day and construction sites, and you hear it's noisy place. but it's going to be quiet to the point where you're going to rise up at the sound of the bird. The grasshoppers, the locusts going to be burdens onto you. You see? Because it's going to be so quiet. And then people are going to be in fear of what's going on. People are already in fear of what's going on. You see? But before I continue on, right, let me just grab this video, and then I'll go back to a couple precepts, and I'll grab precepts off the comment board. Shalom, brother. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakatan to you, the brother Kazak. All right.
If you shop at any of these stores, I'm talking about Walmart, Target, Costco, Home Depot, anything retail, just expect to spend your whole entire paycheck. And this is because the world's second largest shipping company, Maersk, suspended transit through the Strait of Hormuz because of the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. Maersk is one of the world's largest integrated logistic companies, and while people often think that it's just an oil tanker or container ship operator, the company actually moves almost every single category of global trade goods. So this means if you go into these stores, make sure you only get what you need. This is not the time, bro. You shop at any of these stores. I'm talking about
Walmart, so you hear it.
Target, Costco,
I ain't even got to play no other video off of that. Okay? That's what's coming to this place, man. As a matter of fact, let's grab Revelations. All right, Revelation 6. Okay. This is Revelations. Yeah, let's take it from. This goes into the horses, right? Let's just take it from the third one, right? Third verse. It says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast come and say, and see, and come and see. So like I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, all right? And that represents Esau, all right? Because we know Esau, when he was born, right, pertaining to the 25th chapter of Genesis, he was born red as a hairy garment, as the scriptures say, all right? It says, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword, all right? So what does he do? He goes to every place in the world, takes peace away from these people, all right? He's given that blessing of the sword and the fatness of the earth. So the fatness of the earth, that's why Esau, America is always somewhere in another country. There's always something of America in someone else's country, right? Because he has the fatness of the earth. And then he was given the blessing of the sword. So with the blessing of the sword, he's able to do what he wants with his military power. He's able to go and basically, you know, unalive people, you know, take over their countries, take over their natural resources. All right. And that's what you're seeing being done right now. All right. You got this devil trying to go to actual Iran and take over Iran and put in Iran in a certain predicament to put a halt, all right, on a place like the Hormuz, right? And what's that doing? That's basically stopping the flow, all right, of things on that side, okay? And then on top of that, what that also does, because China and Iran are very they're connected together based on oil, all right? What happens is that actually puts a pause on the society of China. So it actually causes China's society to collapse also. So what you see right now is the collapse of all these different nations, which have been happening already internationally. But this is why you see all these nations, their people are standing up against their governments, you see, because of these things that are happening, man. Collapses are happening. Oh, it ain't just in America. The greatest collapse is going to be here in Babylon the Great, America. But these other nations have been going through their collapses of their nation, of their society already, you see? Because this new world order is going to be a global event. It's going to be a global thing, you see? So it has to happen worldwide, all right? So it says, going into the fifth verse, it says, this is the third seal, right? And it says, and when he had opened, okay, it says the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see, and I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on it had a pair of balances in his hand. Okay. And it says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. All right. So going into that goes into hyperinflation, man. That goes into you basically, you know, a day's worth of work, all right, for a loaf of bread, man. That's how it's going to get out here, where people going to work to spend their entire paycheck just to get by and get the things that they need the most. You see? And that's going to continue to intensify, all right, just like it's been telling you. And let me grab that. This is 2nd Ezra's. This is 2nd Ezra's 16, and let's take it from 21, right? And it says, behold, matter of fact, let's take it from 18, 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. And that's what we're in, the beginning of sorrows, man. All right, great mournings. People are starting to mourn. The beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine, plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord is bringing what? Is bringing plagues upon this place, plagues upon Egypt. It tells you that in the 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, right? Let me grab that. This is 11th chapter. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, you see, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and the hail and with the fearful constellation. And you see that, all right? You see that these farmers are in a panic because things ain't been going in their manner, man. They ain't been going in their favor. They've been trying to grow crops, and crops are not able to grow the way to their potential. Why? Because the governments are able to damn, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Manipulate, there you go. Manipulate the weather. They have their HARP stations causing superstorms, holding off rain, you know. So the seasons are all messed up. You know, you can't even tell the seasons in these days no more, man. Okay. You also got where it talks about how, let me grab that real quick. I think that's in, this is, where is that? Is that Revelations? This is, yeah, no, it's not Revelations. This is in Jeremiah. This is 50 and let's take it from 16. It says, cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handle the sickle in the time of harvest. And who's the ones that handle a sickle? All right, a farmer in the time of harvest. When it's time for things that are right, they pick it for you, and then they go and they sell it to the stores, you know. They sell it to their local markets, you see. So the Lord is saying, cut off the sower, okay, from Babylon. Hold on, I lost my place right there. Shit went all the way back to the top. 16. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest, for the fear of the oppressing sword. You see? And who's the oppressing sword? Esau. All right. He's able to oppress a man, even a man in his heritage, oppress your land, you know, through his government. He oppresses your ways, unrighteous decrees, draconian laws. Okay. He's with his sword. He's able, with his technology, his military, he's able to control the weather and manipulate it. Okay. You see? So it says, for the fear of the oppressor's sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. And it's funny because you're starting to see that right now. You're starting to see people actually leaving America, trying to go to another land, go back to their old roots, you know, because they thought that coming to America was going to be the land of opportunity. You see, America the Great. You know, you could make something, you know, of your life here in America, and they realize they leave their countries and they come over here and it's fucking worse. So now people trying to escape back to their lands, which it don't matter where the hell you go, you're not going to be able to escape the judgment of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. The judgment of the Lord is going to be a worldwide thing, man. Okay? So that's what's also going to bring in famine. All right, let's go back to Revelations, Salakia, 6 and 5. And it reads, come see, and I beheld, and a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. All right, and that goes into slavery, right? And it says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil or the wine. All right, this word, all right, the elect, okay? But at the end of the day, those that are not in tune with the Heavenly Father, you're going to feel this, man. You're going to feel the inflation. You're going to feel the famine, okay? You're going to be busting your ass for a couple dollars just to go buy and be able to get by with a couple of things, man. You see? You're going to have to learn how to ration in those days. See, the elect ain't got to worry about that because the Lord said, my servants shall eat and y'all shall be hungry. My servants shall drink and you shall be thirsty. You see? So we have faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that he going to provide a way for us. You know? When all hell finally break loose and we're as pilgrims upon the earth, you know, we're going to run into these doomsday prepper bunkers, houses, you know? You're pretty much bringing all those treasures of yours, right? You stacking up on all these goods for the elect, honestly. You see? Because the Lord going to lead us in a way where we're going to eat. And it ain't going to be just, we're going to eat a little something. Nah, the Lord going to make us eat, man. The Lord going to have a lot of food for us in those days to continue with energy, man. The Lord might give you a little portion of half also, all right? But if you have faith, man, the Lord going to feed you and yours perfectly fine, man. Without a, hey, scripture saying, Job, we're going to laugh at the famine, right? Let me grab that real quick. At famine, you shall laugh, KJV, Job. All right, this is Job 5 and 22, and it says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. You see? Neither shall thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Yeah, we're not going to be worrying about these animals. Scriptures talk about how we're going to be in league with these animals, man. The Lord has used animals to bring you food, right? Accounts in the scriptures. Who was that? I think it was Elijah. All right. You had you had ravens bringing them food, you know, which it was spiritual that it was a raven, because the spirit, the raven is the most, is one of the most intellectual birds. It is the most intellectual bird on planet Earth, you know. So they're smart as hell, man. So the Lord might use a raven to bring you some food, you know. So that's why we don't worry about those things, man. That's why at destruction and famine, we gonna laugh. And it's really gonna be Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai laughing at you. As it tells you in Proverbs, right? Let me grab that real quick. Proverbs 1 and 24 or 25. One and 26. I also will laugh at your calamity. All right, let me take it from 24. Because I have called and you refuse, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel and with none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. You see? So the Lord gonna laugh at you, man, and he gonna put the spirit on us to laugh at your ass. You see? So we ain't worried about none of that. Okay? Going back to, let me set this up real quick before I forget, because I know I got 2nd Ezra 16 on deck. Yeah, leave it right there. Going back to Revelation 6 and 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, man. So hyperinflation. And that reminds me of 2 Kings, the 6th chapter, when the famine of Samaria, all right, let me grab that real quick. You had the famine of Samaria, all right, for the northern kingdom. Okay, they were selling a donkey's ass's head, okay, and dove's dung, bird shit, man, and they were selling it at inflated prices. Okay, 2 Kings 6 and 25, and it reads, and there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver. All right, so that goes into 8 pieces of silver. Okay, it says, and the 4th part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. You see? And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, help my lord, O king. And he said, if the Lord Yahweh does not help thee, when shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. So she hid her son. You see? So people going to resort to what? They're going to resort to, what do you call it? Cannibalism. Okay. Like the brother got up right now. Lamentations 4:9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. You see? Fuck. All right, be slain than to be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field. You see? And then it says after that, the pitiful women have soddened their children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. You see? So you're going to have curses that's going to come upon our people, and they're going to eat their own children. Like it tells you in Baruch 2 and 3, man. Plagues, as that was written in the book of Moses, that a man shall eat the flesh of their own sons and their own daughters. Okay? Matter of fact, you have Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, right? Verse. This is. Where is it at? This is 53. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy own sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord Yahweh thy power has given thee in the siege. A siege is when you're on lockdown. We're going to go back into being locked down. You see? And in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. Okay? It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate is evil, his evil eye shall be, Salaka, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith the enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to stress you out. Your enemy going to try to stress you. Okay? That's how he's going to try to make you bow down, okay, to his system, to his image. He going to make you go to him for the want of all things, in hunger and in thirst, in nakedness, meaning shame. You see? It says, the tender and delicate woman among you which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Why? Because she on her masculine shit, right? Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children that she shall bear, and for Salakia, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for the want of all things, secretly in the siege, and in straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. You see? So cannibalism is going to be a way of life in that time, man. Okay? You're going to have people teaming up together. What is that? Isaiah, is that Isaiah 9 and 21? Or 19 and 20? No, this is 19, Isaiah 9 and 19. Through the wrath of the Lord Yahweh of hosts is the land darkened, and the people shall be the fuel of the fire. No man shall spare his brother, and he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm. So you're going to see people eating themselves, man. People going to literally be eating each other. Okay? Matter of fact, where's that at? And enemies shall become friends and eat each other. KJV. Got where that's at. I think it's Jeremiah. Yep, Jeremiah 19.
The KJV Bible verse about enemies causing friends to eat each other is Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 9.
And it says, and I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend in the siege and straightness wherewith their enemies, and they that seek their lives shall straighten them. You see? So you're going to have people that were enemies become friends, man. And they show you that in that movie, I think it was Bird Box back in the day with Sandra Bullock. You know, they were trying to eat, you know, look for people to eat. Enemies becoming friends. You see? As a matter of fact, it tells you in 2nd Ezra 6 and 22. This is
Ezra chapter 6, verse 22.
I just said that so you
the
get me
exile's
around
joyful
it.
celebration of Passover and the
It's I think it's 24. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. You see? So they're going to be friends fighting against each other in those days, right? As the scriptures tell you in 2nd Ezra, right? 15. Let me grab that. This is 19, 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because the lack of bread, you see, and for great tribulation, you see. So because they, you know, there's no bread, there's no food, there's no water, all right, as it tells you in Isaiah 3 and 1 that the Lord is going to take away from Judah and Israel, all right, the staff of bread, the staff of water. You see, the stay, actually, it says the stay of water and the stay of bread, meaning he's going to take away your necessities that you need most. You see, he's going to take all that away from you. So what you going to do when the Lord takes that away from you, man? You're going to have to depend on the Lord. You're going to have to depend on these precepts. Because the Lord said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So we don't need the physical bread, man. You're going to need the spiritual manna. The spiritual manna going to be this word. That's what's going to get you by in those days, man. The Lord said, your fathers in the wilderness had eaten manna and they are dead because they were desiring the actual physical bread. You see, the Lord was giving them quails. The Lord was giving them water, cracking rocks for them, and they were still being fucking extra with it, man. They were still tempting the Lord, and they ended up dying anyway. You see? But the ones that ended up passing through, right, were the ones that believed in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, because man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of his mouth. You see? And I believe it was Caleb and Joshua. Okay, so man, these everything written aforetime is written for your learning, man. Okay, you have to understand the Lord has been prepping you with faith to believe in Him, to go to Him for the want of all things. The Lord is my shepherd; you shall not want, because the Lord is what's going to lead you. All right, in the time of your affliction, man. Right? That's right. This is Isaiah 33:6. For wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of thy salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. You see? So that's going to be your stability. Having the fear of the Lord is what's going to get you fed, man. Right? So going back to 2nd Ezra 16 real quick, and then I know I still got Revelation 6 on deck. It says, let me grab it from, 18, right? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning is the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they think themselves to be in good case, and even shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And right now we've been at a moment where you're actually able to go get gas. Gas around my way is fucking like I think it went up a little bit right now. I think we're like at $3. But about a week ago, it was at like literally like $2.70 something, man. $2.72, something like that. That's cheap. That shit almost remind me of back in the days when we was getting gas at $2 a gallon, you know, close enough to it. Okay. Victuals also go into food, necessities that you have on your everyday, life. You're still able to go to the store and go buy you some food, right? But we're in the time that this whole entire time that you thought you were good, you thought that everything was working out in your favor, right? Evils have been growing upon the earth. Great confusion has been, was being mixed in the pot. Okay? Because the greatest confusion is fucking your cruel lord DJ Trump telling you he gonna make America great again. And then when you look up, you're like, what the fuck is being made so great? Nothing. So that was already confusion within itself. And it makes perfect sense. That's spiritual, because Babylon goes back to the word Babylon, which means what? Confusion. So we're here in the land of confusion. Right? You're in a place where good is considered evil and evil is considered good. Everything is ass backwards. You see? So it says, it went down. It says, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell on the earth shall perish of famine. You see? And the other that escape hunger shall the sword destroy. So if your ass don't get, hey, the Lord said, I'm going to give a third to the famine, a third to the sword, a third to these missiles, man, to the fire. You see? And within all that, that's going to be the 2/3 of our people that are going to be, cut off and die in the land, as the scriptures tell you. And what's the land that is speaking of? Here in Babylon the Great, here in America. Okay? So you're going to have a third given to the famine, a third given into the sword through Jacob's trouble. All right? And then the third, all right, that's left is going to be the easy ones to draw them into the microchip. All right? And then your ass is going to die through thermonuclear missiles, man, because you ended up taking that MOTB, which the Lord told you in Revelations, the 14th chapter, right? To not take on the image. For he that taketh on the image of the beast or the number of his name, right? I mean, or takes the mark on his forehead, all right, shall feel the wrath and indignation of the heavenly Father, man. In the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, roughly paraphrasing it. You see? So you take that, that's you part of the third that's going to be fed to the fire, man, to the lake of fire. And then eventually America itself is just going to be, you know, a great lake of fire to be destroyed. Why? Because the Lord said he has a sacrifice in Basra. So the Lord back in the day when he made sacrifices, when we made sacrifices, you had to take an altar, you had to put fire on the altar, and then you had to make a sacrifice. All right. And it was being made with animals back in those days, but we don't do that no more, right? Because Yahushua is the ultimate sacrifice. Okay. And neither are we going to do it. Damn, I got an itch on my nose. There ain't nothing but Satan tickling my nose. In the kingdom, all right, there's going to be no more sacrifices. All right. So Babylon, all right, is this great big altar. The thermonuclear missiles spiritually is the fire for that altar. Okay. And then the people in it is the sacrifice, man. Okay. And then it's going to be the cleansing agent of fire that's going to cleanse this place, man. It's going to reset everything. Okay. It's going to give you that, it's going to reset all the elements. Everything here that was once in your hands that you could physically touch, see, all right, that you use to for your everyday lives is going to be destroyed. It's going to melt. And then you're going to have the actual elements itself reset. You're going to have the elements reset. In order for this place to flourish the way it used to be, it has to be completely resetted, man. And that's what we're waiting for, right? So now let's go to Revelations, back to Revelations 6:6, and it read, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. The fourth seal, death, right? It says, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. You see? So, hey, man, many are going to perish by famine, man, by hunger out here. All right. And before your ass die by hunger, you're going to go crazy because there ain't going to be no water neither. And when there's no water, that's when people go into a hallucinogenic mindset, man. You start to hallucinate, man. That's why they're going to do a couple of weirdo things before that. Eating their children, you know, cannibalism. Okay. And then eventually they're going to die from that hunger. All right. Really, they're gonna be dying off of that thirst, because that's what you really pass. You cannot eat for months, man, as long as you got water. Our bodies is filled with water, man. 80% water. So if you got the water, you're good. All right. And what did the Lord say? He gonna give you, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water, right? So you're not gonna have to worry about that, because out of your belly's flowing rivers of living water. So you're filled with the water that you need, the spiritual water. All right. As a matter of fact, John 6 and 30, what is that, 35 or 27? Yeah, I'll grab 27 and 35. This is labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him has Yahweh the Father sealed. You see? So the meat that we have is the spiritual manna, man, this truth. Right? 35 says, for I am the bread of life. This is what Yahushua said. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. You see? So that within itself, man, it is beautiful to hear, man. Because as long as we continue to believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man, you're not going to thirst. You're not going to hunger, man. You're going to be filled, all right, with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Matthew 5 and 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness' sake, for they shall be filled. You see, they're going to be satisfied, man. All right, the Lord feed his animals, right? The Lord feed his fowls, right? His birds, right? The Lord said, hey, are you not much better than they are? So if they get their portion, right, the Lord going to give us our portion. You see? And ultimately, all right, our portion is this bread of life, man. As it tells you in that prayer in 6, Matthew 6, right? 6 and 9. And it says, where's it at? I'll just get straight to that point. 11. All right. Give us this day our daily bread. You see? So you're going to be filled. All right. Because you're thirsting for righteousness' sake. You're hungered for righteousness' sake and setting your affections on the things above, man. So the Lord going to give you your daily bread. You ain't got nothing to worry about, man. When you go into that time when you don't have no food, if you've been fasting, it's just another day in the park, right, of you just fasting and getting closer to the Heavenly Father. See, when we fast for the right reasons, man. Drawing closer and nigh to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. These niggas of the world, they fast for the, you know, for a health benefit, which it is a health benefit also, okay? But remember, we have a superpower within ourselves already here on earth, the power of prayer and the power of fasting, okay? So whenever we got to draw closer to the Lord, we fast and we heal ourselves within Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You see? So when that time comes that we ain't got no food, hey, man, it's just going to be another day for you to fast and get closer to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? The brother got over here. This is Shalom Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah to you, brother. This is Jeremiah 17 and 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, whose heart departed from the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Yeah. So you putting your trust in the shadow of Egypt, man. Okay. The Lord said, put your confidence in the Lord, not to put your confidence in man. Man ain't gonna do shit for you, man. Man cannot save. Even us, when we're bringing this word out to you, all right, it's really Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that's gonna save. We're not gonna be able to save you. We gotta work out our own salvation, man. So we can't help you. I can't save you, but I could give you the key ingredients to get saved. I could give you the bread of life, which is Yahweh Shai. And when you receive it and you're sealed, it's not me that saved you. It's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that saved you. You see, he just used me as a vessel to give you the word. Okay. This is Proverbs 11 and 4. It says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. Yeah, it don't matter about how much money you got. Okay. What the fuck you stored up in your house. Okay. None of that matters. The Lord is what's going to deliver you from death. Okay. Righteousness. Okay. We already brought that out. Lamentations 4:9, 4 and 10. Baruch, I'll grab that since I quoted it. Baruch 2 and 1. Therefore, the Lord Yahweh has made good his word. Yeah, because his word is not going to return unto him void. All right. So what the Lord has said through these scriptures, right? Whatever he has pronounced against us is what is going to come upon this place, man. It says the Lord has made good with his word, which he has pronounced against us and against the judges that judge Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah, both northern kingdom and southern kingdom. Baruch 2 and 2, to bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven. You see, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, which Jerusalem is a people before a place, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses, that a man shall eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. You see? And when we give you the vision and make a plain upon the tables, you're supposed to run with terror, all right? and be persuaded through the terror of the Lord to turn back to him. That shit should make you be like, oh, hell no. I remember when I first heard that scripture, I was like, oh, hell no. That shit had me spooked. As a matter of fact, when I first read that scripture, I remember for the next 2 days, for some reason down my algorithm, it was a whole bunch of death coming down my shit. Things like that. It was just like things of people starving, you know, cannibalism, you know. I seen a crazy ass video with my tribe, Zebulon. Them niggas was some cartel ass niggas, them Salvadorian niggas down there. All right, they're Salvatruche, they're MS-13 type niggas. Them niggas was cutting out a heart for one of the people that they were unaliving. Yo, the dude cut out the boy heart. You see the heart beating and everything. I did a video on it. I even got a strike for that shit because it was so gruesome. Boy grabbed that heart and ate that shit. And that shit was spiritual, because if you ever seen the movie Apocalypto, that goes to the tribe of Zebulon, the Mayans. All right. And they were doing shit like that in the ancient world, man. They were doing shit like that, eating hearts, making sacrifices. You see? So when I seen that shit, man, the dude was laughing, just chewing on his heart like it was nothing. You know? That shit had me spooked, that precept right there. Right? Let me read this again. This is 2nd Ezra 6:22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be, shall suddenly be found empty. And he and the trumpet, Salaki, shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall suddenly be afraid. And that's what we're doing, man. We're giving you that certain sound, okay? We're blowing the trumpet, ringing the alarm, all right, of what's about to come upon the land. And at that time shall friends fight against another, all right, like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still. In 3 hours they shall not run. Okay, so yeah, people gonna fight against each other, man. Luke 4:4 says, and Yahushua answered, saying, it is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of Yahweh. Okay. And I ended off with this as I quoted it, and the brother put it up. This is Revelations 14:9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast or his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. You see? So you have to make sure that your mind is rooted and grounded, right, to not make provision for the flesh in that day. Because the same way that Satan came to Yahushua, right, when he was weak, all right, and he was promising him all these things, right, is the same way that Satan gonna try to creep in your mind, try to make you, make you feel like the Lord ain't dealing with you, damn, yo, if you just take that microchip, you know what I'm saying, you'll be able to eat, man, you'll be all right, just take it, that's how Satan gonna creep in your mind, man. But we got to be prepared for those things. You have to have the spirit of discernment, man. Understanding that whoever called upon the name of the Lord and was despised, man. The prophets, through their faith, obtained a good report. So we're going to have that faith in them last days, man. All right. That's how you're going to be saved, through faith. All right. So I'm going to leave it there through the spirit, Lord willing. It was edifying. The water brother, as always, for the precepts. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai unto you and your household. All right. And the sister also. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who were well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith, enduring as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. Stay prayed up. All right. Hey, moves is being made out here. The Lord doing his works. All right. And it's about to get real ugly. All right. So we have to stay prepared. Okay. We gotta stay beautified, right? While shit about to get ugly, we're gonna get beautified with this word. You see, because this word is beautiful. All right. And we're in beautiful times for the elect's sake, right? We're in beautiful times because salvation is right around the corner. All right. But for the rest of these people, hey, miseries is about to come upon this place. You're about to finally witness what we've been talking about for years actually turn into the reality, you know, and bodies is about to start dropping, man. Okay. And that's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So Shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.